Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
The essay begins now. The year 1876 witnessed the publication of Alexis Claude Clairaut's Theorie de la Figure de la Terre, a work that stands as a testament to the 18th century's profound engagement with the mechanics of the cosmos. This essay undertakes a detailed, section-by-section exploration of Clairaut's magnum opus, offering a critical evaluation of its central assertions and the reasoning that underpins them. Our concern dwells not on the broader currents of intellectual history, though they inform, but on the intricate framework erected by Clairaut himself. We shall delve into the precise claims, the methodologies employed, and the internal coherence of the arguments presented, assessing the enduring significance of this seminal text. This evaluation is a journey into the mind of a brilliant mathematician wrestling with the shape of our planet, a journey we shall embark upon with the utmost intellectual rigor. Section 1: Introduction and Foundational Assumptions. Clairaut begins by establishing the parameters of his inquiry, clearly delineating the questions he intends to address. He frames his investigation within the context of the burgeoning field of Newtonian cosmology, acknowledging the profound implications of Newton's law of universal gravitation. Clairaut explicitly states that his work is pursuit to determine the Earth's form, given the principles of gravitational attraction and centrifugal force. He acknowledges that the Earth possesses an oblate spheroid form flattened at the poles, and sets out to substantiate this deduction mathematically. He presents the notion of a hydrostatic equilibrium, implying that the Earth's internal layers are capable of sliding freely. The author, in essence, sets forth the problem rooted in the intersection of mechanics, astronomy and geometry. The assumptions Clairaut makes, such as the Earth's homogeneous density and the absence of topographical irregularities, simplifies the problem. It is a concession to operational feasibility, the beginning of his deductive project. He directly declares that the study of the Earth's shape can unveil elements within its structure, and sets the stage for precise measurements. The introduction, at its core, serves as a concise, clear guide to the mathematical edifice he is preparing to construct. It is a clear, foundational proposition. Section 2: The Law of Gravitation and the Ellipsoidal Hypothesis. Clairaut next dedicates himself to a discussion of the law of universal gravitation, the cornerstone of his formulation. He elaborates upon Newton's proposition, showing the mechanics of gravitational force between two objects. He underscores the role of mass and distance, highlighting the inverse square relationship which is fundamental to his calculations. The central claim in this section is that the gravitational attraction of a spheroid can be precisely calculated, offering a method to estimate the shape. Building upon this, Clairaut introduces the concept of an ellipsoid of revolution, a three-dimensional figure created by rotating an ellipse around one of its axes. He argues that the Earth, under the combined influence of gravity and rotation, takes the form of an oblate ellipsoid. The justification for this rests on the balancing of these forces, whereby gravity, acting to pull matter inward, is counterbalanced by the centrifugal force arising from the Earth's rotation. A crucial element in this section is the introduction of the concept of the potential, a scalar quantity that describes the gravitational field at any point. Clairaut then provides a mathematical formulation for this potential, which depends on the distribution of mass within the Earth. The evidence supporting the ellipsoidal hypothesis rests on both theoretical grounds arising from the principles of mechanics and observational evidence from measurements of the Earth. Clairaut directly links the flattening of the Earth at the poles to the Earth's rotation, providing a direct observable consequence of this theory. Section 3: The Clairaut's theorem and its derivation. This section constitutes the heart of Clairaut's work, introducing the theorem which bears his name. The core claim is that a specific relationship exists among the surface gravity, the ellipticity, and the rotational velocity of a celestial body. Clairaut's theorem states a proportionality between the degree of flattening of a planet and its density distribution. He undertakes a detailed mathematical derivation of the theorem, employing techniques from both differential equations and potential theory. The approach involves the assumption of hydrostatic equilibrium where the Earth's interior behaves like a fluid. He posits that the gravitational potential is constant across the surface of a body at equilibrium. The demonstration utilizes an expansion of the potential function, expressing it in terms of spherical harmonics. From this, he derives a set of equations that relate the surface gravity, the ellipticity, and the density distribution. The significance of the theorem lies in its ability to link observable quantities, surface gravity and ellipticity, with the internal structure density distribution. It provides an indirect method for probing the internal composition of the Earth based on measurements taken on its surface. The methodological aspect of the section is centered on the use of mathematical analysis to derive a formula that directly links measurable external properties to internal characteristics. Section 4 Applications of Clairaut's theorem to the Earth. Clairaut now shifts his attention to applying his theorem to the specific case of the Earth. He gathers the scientific data available at the time, including measurements of gravity at various latitudes and the degree of the Earth's flattening. He takes the known values of surface gravity at different locations, the measured value of the Earth's flattening, and utilizes Clairaut's theorem to begin inferring elements of the Earth's inner structure. He uses a combination of observational data with the theorem to refine the value of the Earth's flattening. The core of the argument is to test the validity of the theorem in practice, using actual measurements of the Earth. The precision of the measurements, of course, is a crucial limitation. He acknowledges the imperfections of the data available and makes the reasonable assumption that the Earth comprises a series of concentric, homogeneous ellipsoidal layers. This enables him to make calculations and derive estimates regarding the distribution of density within the Earth. He provides numerical examples demonstrating how the theorem can be used to estimate the density differences between the Earth's core and its outer layers. The evidence for this specific application relies on the accuracy of the measurements of gravity and the Earth's shape. Clairaut carefully considers the possible sources of error, recognizing the limitations of the tools available at the time. He assesses that, despite the imperfections, those results, when interpreted, provide a reasonable description of the Section 5, Comparison with observed data and refinement. This section is crucial for validating the theory. Clairaut directly compares the theoretical predictions derived from his theorem with the results of geodetic surveying. He discusses the results of measurements of the Earth's meridian arc lengths across various latitudes, comparing values to his theoretical predictions. A critical aspect is his attention to the discrepancies between the observed data and the theoretical values. Clairaut acknowledges the inevitable disparity between a simplified model and the complex reality of the Earth. He assesses these discrepancies and explores the possible causes. He investigates several potential factors, including the varying density of the Earth's outer layers, variations in the gravitational field due to local geological features, and potential errors in the measurements. Clairaut doesn't dismiss his theory because it imperfectly represents the physical world. Rather, he uses it to refine the data. He attempts to quantify the errors, in essence performing an early form of error analysis. Ultimately, the argument is that Clairaut's theorem provides a reasonable approximation of the Earth's shape, a useful representation of the planet despite these identified imperfections. The method here is decidedly empirical, where observed data modifies theoretical calculations. Section 6 Considering the effects of lunar and solar tides. Clairaut further elaborates on the subject by integrating his work with the effects of the lunar and solar tides. He recognizes the gravitational influence of the Moon and the Sun on the Earth, noting that these forces affect the shape of the Earth. He presents a mathematical treatment of the Earth's response to these external gravitational perturbations. A key element is the concept of tidal bulges on the Earth's surface. He describes how the Moon and the Sun's gravitational pull generate two bulges in the Earth's oceans, one on the side facing the celestial body and, by inference, one on the opposite side. He extends his theorem to consider the effect of these tidal forces on the Earth's equilibrium figure. Clairaut explained the mechanics, the ebb and flow, of the tides, explaining that these are a clear consequence of the combined force of gravity acting across the Earth. He proceeds to model the deformation, quantifying the distortion produced by the Earth's rotation. The approach uses tidal data to create an even more detailed description of the Earth's shape. The core claim is that the tides are a predictable, measurable consequence of his Section 7 implications and further extensions. In his concluding section, Clairaut discusses the broader implications of his work and explores possible avenues for future research. He highlights the significance of Clairaut's theorem for understanding the internal structure of other celestial bodies, such as Jupiter and Saturn. He discusses the possibilities of extending the theorem to account for more complex scenarios, like the effects of null hydrostatic stresses and the influence of the irregular distribution of density within the Earth. He acknowledges that his model, while a significant step forward, is necessarily a simplification of reality and calls for refinements. He emphasizes the importance of future observations and improved measurements. His ultimate argument is that the theorem provides a foundation for understanding the behavior and the shape of celestial bodies and a framework for future investigation. He recognizes the limitations of the techniques, but the future theoretical extensions. The section is an acknowledgement of the theoretical and practical uses of the work. Conclusion. Alexis Claude Clairaut's Theorie de la figure de la terre stands as a landmark achievement in the history of science. Through meticulous mathematical reasoning, Clairaut constructed a coherent and powerful framework for understanding the shape of the Earth and, by extension, other celestial bodies. He offered a model that allows for the combination of both theoretical and observational information to derive conclusions. His greatest achievement, the theorem that bears his name, provided a direct link between readily measurable quantities like the Earth's flattening and surface gravity to the Earth's interior structure. Through a section-by-section examination of his arguments, we have witnessed the elegant logic of his deductions, the meticulous attention he gives to the limitations of his measurements, and the brilliance of his integration of mathematical principles with observed reality. We observed how he uses what is known to describe what is hidden. The internal consistency and the predictive power of his theorem, even in its simplicity, marked a decisive advancement in the understanding of the shape of the Earth, the implications of its mechanics, and, in effect, the field of geophysics. The lasting value of this work exceeds its contribution to the understanding of the Earth's shape. It laid the groundwork for modern geodetic and geophysical studies. This work remains a testament to the power of mathematical modelling and the enduring human desire to understand the universe. It stands as a vivid illustration of how mathematical reasoning and a deep commitment to observational evidence blend to create a greater understanding of the world.
We really appreciate you tuning in to this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.